Hi, my young friends. So, once again, we are back here together at your own learning platform, Learn Forward. And I'm here with your book, The Grammar Hub by Feathercap. Today, we'll be starting chapter 20 of your book. And yes, you said that correctly. We'll be learning ahead about subject and predicate. So, this is a topic you already know. What is subject and predicate? Exactly, you are right there. They are the parts of a sentence. So, do we have something new here for you? Let's see. As this just reflects the way you think, the way you write, you speak, right? So here we have story writing. What is story writing? We must understand first. What is story? It is just a collection. It is just a narration of some event, of some incidents, right? So you have to remember a few things when you do story writing. The first thing is it is written in past because we are just stating about some events, right? So a proper story should have the following. It should have an interesting heading or title. The first thing is give it a good heading that is related to your story. Then it should have a plot, a theme around which the story moves. It should have a theme or some central idea. Then the story should contain a problem, and then there should be a solution also from which we learn a lesson, and then it should be written in the past tense. To make your story more interesting, you can add some dialogues there, like the narration should be in the form of direct speech at a few places, just to make it, give it a spice, you can say, right? So we have some example here for you. We have a story on Joseph and the wolf. Now, when you do story writing, there can be different things which are given to you. Sometimes the teachers gives you only the topic, so you just have to think around that topic and then make your own story. Sometimes the teacher gives the heading, the title of the story along with some hints. So these are called the hints. So you just have to correlate your story. That means you have to just work around those hints and then make up your story. Show your creativity linking to that. So here we have a story where the some of the hints are given to you, like boy lived with grandfather, was disobedient, opened gate, duck and cat escaped, bad wolf attacked, robin flew around wolf's head, wolf was tired, grandfather chased wolf, Joseph was sorry. So what you see here is we are talking about a boy who lived with his grandfather, and then it's telling that he was disobedient also, and finally he felt sorry also. This is the end of the story. So how we have to correlate them? What was the disobedience that was shown in the story? We are going to write about that. A boy named Joseph lived with his grandfather in a little farm near a forest. So we are giving the introductory line in the story, that in this we are talking about a boy whose name was Joseph. Where did he live? How he looked? What was his nature? We can just explain. They had animals and a big barn full of grain. They had a cat that kept rats away. And they also had a duck who provided them with eggs. So Joseph was kind, he was gentle, but he was disobedient. And grandfather often told Joseph, keep the great gate of the farm closed, because otherwise there was a wolf around who could come and attack any of them. So there is a big bad wolf in the forest. So you have to be careful. You always, just like when your parents go out, you are alone at home or with your sibling, they instruct you, keep the door latched, don't open the gate if anybody comes. So these are the instructions for your safety. The same way grandfather also instructed him to keep the gate locked. But Joseph never listened. So he used to just open the gate off and on. One day he ran off to play outside the farm. So he just left the gate open. He also went outside. He left the gate open. The duck and the cat escaped. Now, when he left the gate open, otherwise the duck and the cat cannot open the gate. So they also moved out, and the duck started swimming in a pond nearby because ducks love to swim, and the cat climbed up a tree. The wolf smelled them. Now, when they were out of the home, the smell attracted the wolf. So the wolf smelled them and ran out of the forest, and it caught the duck there. Joseph, who was nearby, climbed a tree. Can you see a boy who has climbed up the tree? He's sitting on the tree, on a branch of a tree. So he just climbed up a tree. He cried, "Help, the wolf will catch me." So he got scared now. A little robin peeped out of its nest and said, so there was a bird robin. It peeped out and it said, "I'll help you. Don't worry. I'll just help you out." So can you just imagine how the bird would have helped? That little bird just started rolling around. It started flying around. It started flying in circles around the wolf's head. So if you just keep moving like this for a while, what happens? You suddenly fall down. You get unconscious. Same happened. The wolf tried to catch it, but was soon tired. It got tired of just moving round and round, and grandfather ran out of the house looking for Joseph. So when grandfather heard him, and then he found there was nobody in the house, so he just came out of the house looking for him. He chased the wolf away. So nobody else could do anything, but then grandfather who came out, he just chased away that tired wolf. So Joseph said, "Sorry, grandfather." He realized his mistake, and "I'll always listen to you." So then onwards, he became an obedient boy. So this is how you learn from your mistakes sometimes. If not in a single go, sometimes you just realize your mistake in 2 attempts, but then finally you regret for them, right? So here's something for you to practice. Read the outlines given below and then develop the stories. Here we have the hints for you. Wolf wanted to eat sheep, couldn't eat due to shepherd and guard dogs, wore sheep's skin, walked among the sheep, sheep started to follow it, wolf led the sheep far from the herd and ate the sheep. Now what you see here, children, the hints, they start directly from wolf wanted to eat sheep, but it's not giving you any introduction about the story, right? So first thing that we have to do is we have to give a heading to this story. That we can do on either, if it is possible for you after reading these hints, it is good enough. If you cannot, then you first leave the space for writing the heading, and then you can begin writing your story with the help of these clues. And once you finish up, just go through and think of a suitable title for it. So for now, I am leaving the title and will start writing. Now to correlate, wolf wanted to eat sheep, we are talking about a shepherd, we are talking about the sheep, we are talking about the guard dogs. How we can start the story? Let's see. So we'll talk about the shepherd first. So we can say, once upon a time, there was a shepherd who lived in a village. So we'll start writing like this. Once upon a time, there was a shepherd who lived in a village. Now, because he was a shepherd, that means he had sheep, right? So we can just, what he used to do, what did he used to do with the sheep? So we can say he took his sheep for grazing to the nearby fields. He took his sheep, the plural of sheep is also sheep, I hope you remember that. He took his sheep for grazing to a nearby field. Now in the clues, do you see that they are talking about the guard dogs? So what could be the reason to take the guard dogs along? You can just think about it. It could be because of the danger of some wild animals. And it's clearly mentioned here about a wolf. So we can just say that the shepherd was always accompanied, the sheep and the shepherd, they were always accompanied by some guard dogs. Why? Because of the fear of a wolf. And where does a wolf live? It lives in a forest. So we can just say in some adjoining, some nearby forest, isn't it? So we frame the story like this and we'll move ahead. But they were always accompanied by some guard dogs, because the number is not given. You can also write some number if you want. By some guard dogs. Why? Because of the fear of a wolf, or you can say because of the fear of the wild animals, anything, of a wolf in an adjoining forest. Now, after giving this brief introduction about the story, then we can move ahead with what is given in the hints in the beginning. Wolf wanted to eat sheep. So, the role of your hints will start from here. The wolf wanted to eat sheep, but it's clearly written, but it could not eat. Why? Because because of the shepherd and the guard dogs. Wanted to eat sheep, but could not do so because of, you can say, the presence, because of the security, of the shepherd and the guard dogs. Right? Now going ahead, they are talking about wore sheep's skin. So how can you just correlate this wearing of the sheep's skin? You can say that one day it just thought of a plan, and one day it thought of a plan. And what was the plan? It wore the sheep's skin. What happened then? It wore the sheep's skin and walked among the sheep. Right? So what happened next? A sheep started to follow it. Suddenly, it moved out of the group. It moved out of the group and a sheep started to follow it. Now what happened when the wolf found that, oh, a sheep is following me? So the wolf led the sheep far from the herd. The wolf led the sheep far from the herd and finally ate the sheep. Now, after finishing the story, can we think about the suitable title? Yes, good. That's a wonderful title. Let's write that only. We can say A Clever Wolf. Or what can be the other title of the story? You can also say the shepherd and the sheep. Shepherd and the sheep. You can say the wolf, a wolf and a sheep, based on what you have written, right? So I hope by now you have understood how to write a story with the help of the given clues. Let's go ahead now. Now, the second way I told you is the teacher can give you just a title of the story. So just think about it and then you can start writing. So here's an example for you. Write short story with these titles. One of the stories you have to write is The Greedy Woodcutter. So have you heard about the story of a greedy woodcutter? Let me tell you the story and then you are going to write it yourself. The Greedy Woodcutter is a story about actually two woodcutters. Once upon a time, there was a woodcutter and he was very honest. He had an ailing mother also. He was the only son who had to look after his mother who was sick. So he used to go to the forest. He used to cut the woods there. Woods means he had to cut the trees there and bring the wood home. So that was how he used to earn money. Now one day when he was working in forest, he went to drink water and when he just bent down, his axe fell into deep water. Now he got very sad and he even started crying bitterly. Suddenly, he saw a bright light appearing there in the form of a fairy. And the fairy asked, "Why are you crying, my dear son?" And he narrated his story that my mother is sick, I work day and night and to earn my bread and butter, and today my only eggs has fallen into this deep water. So the fairy felt pity, and to help that woodcutter, the fairy went into the deep water and she brought a sparkling, shining golden eggs and asked, "Is this your eggs?" The woodcutter said, "No, no, this is not my eggs. My eggs is a simple, ordinary iron eggs." So she was very happy. She was impressed with the honesty of the woodcutter, because although that woodcutter got a chance to be wealthy with that golden eggs, he refused that it's not mine. So she went into the deep water again. She brought the original, the iron eggs of the woodcutter. And she just gave the golden eggs also to the woodcutter for his honesty. And when he went back home, he told the story to his friend that today my eggs fell into the deep water and the fairy he gifted me this golden eggs. So that second woodcutter was very greedy. And what he did, the next day, he also went there to the deep water, and he willingly, intentionally threw his eggs. He pretended to cry, and then the fairy appeared again. The fairy asked him also, "Why are you crying, my child?" He said, "My only eggs has fallen into this deep water. What will I do now? I am very poor. So how will I earn my bread and butter?" So the fairy went into the deep water. She again brought a golden eggs. And then she asked, "Is this your eggs?" So he was like, "Wow, yes, this is my eggs. Thank you so much." And the fairy got so angry that she scolded the woodcutter, saying that you are very greedy. This is not your eggs actually. This petty iron eggs is your eggs. And then she just disappeared from there. And this is because of his greediness, he could not get anything. So we should not be greedy is the moral of the story. So I hope now you'll be able to write the story on the greedy woodcutter yourself. And then you can just think yourself also around the plots and write the story on your own. This is how you improve, enhance your creativity, enhance your writing skills. So I hope you will enjoy writing stories now onwards with the hints and even with the topics, with the help of the points that I have given to you to remember while you are writing a story. So it was nice being with you, telling you different stories. We'll be coming up with more writing skills now ahead. Till then, happy learning, children.